this, I think. Probably.
Whoa.
Maybe
Whoa.
welcome back, I guess, to the gaming and gaming accessories podcast. I'm your host,
Gaming.
or one of your hosts, Ben, and the other one is that guy.
That
Come on, that guy.
guy. Yeah, what's up? If you haven't watched any of the episodes, I'm Garrett. That's Ben.
I already said
Um,
that.
really?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay, my bad. You might have been muted. So, I think
What an
you were
idiot.
muted. I think you were
What an
muted.
idiot. What an idiot.
I think you were muted. Anyway,
Stupid.
so we got some topics on the board today. We were gonna do more memorability, but more about landscapes, because
Yeah.
we didn't really
Level
tackle that too
design.
much. We're gonna do favorite games because we kind of already tackled characters. Because I mean, memorable characters doesn't directly,
Correlate.
correlate to favorite characters, but it damn well
Usually.
can.
It makes the most sense.
Um, so games and I guess we could do not like not well, I wouldn't say most hated game, but I was gonna say like
Least
try to
favorite.
least favorite
Could
like
also go over
this
genres,
game.
technically, but I think we're
Yeah,
fine.
I can talk about how
Stick
much I
for
hate
now.
Jump Force, but that's
Well,
besides the point. And then what else was there? Were we gonna do? Oh yeah, early
early
access
access,
titles. Talk about a couple
just
of those.
general opinions.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we'll talk about memorable landscapes.
Yeah, just so like at least generally what I'm thinking of is sort of games that have a setting that's rememberable. Can either be the physical setting in terms of like the way something looks, or it could be the more conceptual setting, in like something like a post-apocalypse, but of course there's a million post-apocalypse, more unique settings, either on premise or literally. So
Okay.
do you want to lead, or do you want me to lead?
If you want to, go ahead. I
All
have a
right.
couple
So
in
I
mind.
think I've already disclosed I the fact that the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion is a game that I wish to talk about in relation to this, and I will actually follow up on that. So, just to set a scene, everybody who hasn't played Skyrim, Skyrim's Norse, or Norse based. So that means there's snow everywhere, everything kind of bleak, kind of gray, and there's a lot of proud people sort of running around and just screaming at each other. Um, and I think that's fine. But fact of the matter is, you don't have a lot of variety in Skyrim. There is Markarth, one city that is built by like the dwarves, and that is it. That is all you get. That is all you get. You get one city that looks distinct from the rest, and the rest have crummy huts and maybe like one unique building per city. And it's fine. It's good. Some cities get more love than others, especially the ones with the cities with walls are always the ones that get the most attention just because the way rendering works and yada yada yada. However, the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion is a game that does not have this fault. To the point where it's just such a I think it's to sort of lock this into a greater scheme of things. One of the things that makes it the most memorable is the diversity of the landscape. Because in each city, there is practically a different type of architecture, and that follows through to every house in the city. There's hardly any exceptions, except maybe like there's a hut outside the city walls, and that's like standard texture. But it's really incredible how they managed to use a different architectural style. Like there's a city in the swamps, and it has much more sort of these wooden buildings, and they're sort of like this ramshackle because of all the heat, assumedly, and the wet, and just it's great. They do a really good job. There's sun-baked houses on the coast, but it's just while the dungeons in Oblivion could be considered lacking in terms of their uniqueness, the cities are just spectacular. Most characters actually have their own story as well, which is usually an important part of the setting in terms of just different characters that can, you know, they may not be important or main characters, but they do have something that's going on that they will tell you about if you try to talk to them. Not every character, of course, it's an older game, but it's still just really, at least in my book, impressive how diverse each city is. There's like cities built on hills, and they have like their own thing going on. I believe that's Oh boy, I'm gonna look stupid now.
Oh,
Starts with an S. The S city.
you think I'm gonna
But
know that?
yeah, I know. You probably don't know a word of what I'm saying.
S is
Um,
for Sam. Sam
it
City.
means I don't know. It's a cool city. Skingrad, that's it. Skingrad, that's a cool city.
That was my next
There's
guess.
Brazil. Yeah. Leowin. Leowin's really cool. It's all just a lot of really good architecture. You really have to sort of see it, but it's all entirely different color schemes, different sort of populations as well, and it is because in terms of the lore, uh Oblivion is set in the center of the continent, which sort of allows it to be this great melting pot of all these different cultures sort of coming to heads and or generally meeting each other and maybe being less hostile. But it just there's so much representation of all these different things and it's spectacular. And a lot of it, it's everything just sort of fits into place marvelously in terms of its sort of feel. But aside from screaming about like what is it, a 20-year-old game? Not 20-year, but something like that most likely. 2006. That makes it 15. But
Oof,
you know,
that was
yeah,
2006.
I think so. I'm almost certain.
Wow.
But it's an old game. It's an old game, but it's really good.
Yeah, well, too bad it sucks. No, I'm
Playability.
kidding.
Oh,
Um, I guess if we're talking about landscapes,
or setting.
we're
I'll get into
setting.
setting then.
I think Breath of the Wild. I think Breath of the Wild
Ooh,
nailed Hyrule.
that's a hard one not to choose. Really.
Yeah, because like rolling up to like the fish area and all that, where
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like, oh,
The
look at all the
cities in that were also
fountains,
really.
and it's just like, oh, I
Yeah.
gotta maneuver my way through this because I'm not from here, or like the area of I don't. It's been a while since I played Breath of the Wild, but I still put like a good 200, 250 hours in it. But it was
Right.
like all the different areas and
Right.
traveling to them and even trying to go for Hyrule Castle. It's like, whoa,
Mhm.
it's like
Right.
some really crazy stuff having to climb those walls and like
Mhm.
having to not die from.
Right.
I almost called them ruin guards.
I was going to say that.
The ruin guards from Breath of the Wild. Ruin guards from Breath of the Wild.
I
Um, what were they called again? Ancient.
don't remember.
Because you would hit them with ancient arrows.
Yeah, they're like the ancient machines basically. That's like
Yeah,
that's it.
I
They want
remember
to kill
like
you. You want to kill them.
when you
You use
first
them in a
start.
war. Yada yada yada.
When you first start, you run into one of those, and you're like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
Um. I mean, then of course you could go with like, in terms of landscapes, like the amount I mentioned this last week. The amount of times that Sega reuses
Oh yeah.
green like
Guardian. That's what I thought, but it sounded stupid.
Green Hill Zone. Yeah, Ancient Guardian or something. Guardian. They were just
Yeah,
called
just Guardian.
Guardians.
Just Guardian.
Yeah, because they
Sounds
were
so
called
generic,
Guardian
but yeah,
arrows.
here we are.
The amount of times that Sega reuses Green Hill Zone. Not
Yeah.
mi- and not every time it's Green Hill Zone. It could be Sandy Hill Zone. It could be I forgot what they called the other ones, but it's just like, oh, grass area. This is the first level, and then you go somewhere else, and it could be a water area or it could be a fire area. It's just like you're progressing. Even Sonic CD, the disaster that game is, just because it had a different team working on it. Even they started in a grass looking area that looked like, oh, it's Green Hill Zone, but other than that, it's just like landscapes. I don't know too many landscapes that are just like, ah, that's a landscape right there. I remember that. Like,
Yeah, you can
um,
talk about levels if that's more your bag.
yeah. I mean, and then it comes to like sometimes a level can be trash if there's not a good OST behind it,
Mm.
because
I do believe music
especially
can contribute a lot to setting. That is true.
it really does, honestly, because like I don't know if you ever heard like I think it's called Starlight City, but it's one of my favorite like Genesis Sonic songs. Fire.
Mm.
But I think it's Starlight or like Starspeed Runway or something like that. Either way, um I mean, the landscapes. I don't know. I play a lot of fighting games as well, so it's just like landscapes aren't a huge thing in those, especially in 2D fighters. Just like, oh, we're in
Right.
grassy area, or oh, we're in rocky area, you know. But I mean, the surrounding areas in Breath of the Wild is a big thing, and you could probably say the same thing for Genshin Impact. Like, if you ask me, like, oh, Mondstadt, the main city, I could tell you exactly where all the stuff is that I go to regularly. But
Yeah, that's true.
Leeway, not too much. Leeway is just one giant strip, and I'm just way too lazy to run down it half the time.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know, just because I've played the game so much, I know where a lot of the main areas are, like near the Dawn Winery, and then around there, and then all those paths and stuff, because just like you go there so often. And like, oh, there's a hilly troll camp over there. Maybe I'll go test something out over there.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know too much about landscapes. Honestly, I tried so hard to think about this, and I just could not think of anything.
Understandable. I guess that was my big Oblivion was my big topic in
Yeah.
terms of, because it's just all these different cities and stuff like that. But to go on, I think with setting, I think one of the more interesting settings that I've ever had the pleasure of playing in would be XCOM, especially XCOM 2, because you might have heard me mention this a couple times. XCOM 2, basically the original XCOM and the XCOM series in general. This is the newer XCOMs for those who might be a fan of the older ones. But so the newer XCOMs are, in the first game, it's aliens. Aliens are invading Earth. You gotta kill them. You gotta stop them. You gotta take out their big mothership and then send them packing. That like that's classic. That's simple. That's easy, to be frank. And it's a good game. It's a really fun game. It's everybody, there's like all the stereotypes about, oh, I miss a shot when I have 999% chance. And it's like, oh. But you know even that aside, I do believe XCOM 2 is one of the most interesting post-apocalyptic scenarios, because it's a quiet apocalypse, I think is the best way to put it. In that, um, it's kind of a remark on the sort of difficulty of the first game, that the the presumed ending and how XCOM 2 begins. It's basically just stated that you lose. You lost in the first game, and now the aliens have taken over Earth. And I think it's just such a crazy thing to say. Like, oh yeah, the player would have logically lost. So, or even if they wouldn't have logically lost, the player lost, or that's what makes the most sense for the story. So now XCOM's on the ropes. They used to be this world-defending organization that still needed rally support because aliens are still out there. But now they're working against an alien government that's bigger than they are and has probably twice the resources and twice the everything else. And it's just such like an interesting such an interesting thing to do, to have like all of this alien technology sort of mixed amongst just regular human stuff. Just like just regular microwaves, fridges, and everything else like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have these giant like generators that pulse out these signals and crazy stuff like that, and suppress the people. And it's a really good turn on the that normal sort of oppression, because you can have plenty of settings have done the whole, oh yes, there's an evil tyrant or an evil dictator, depending on the the century it's set in. But it is one of those things in this where it's like, well, they're outsiders. That makes it adds this extra degree of discomfort, I think, which is the best thing, is that you're sort of under the heel of somebody who has no reason to care for you, because even they're still human in most settings, but even now they're these creatures that hardly care and would really just like to either exploit or otherwise use humanity. And I think it's something that most games in the modern day tend to shirk away from, is the idea of true evil. Is that it's always like, oh yes, they must be, and there might be some reason. I haven't entirely finished the game. There might be some deeper reason as to what they're doing and why. But I don't think so. But it's just one of those games where they're free to say, yeah, these guys want to kill all us all, so I mean, we kill all them, and it's like, yeah, you know what? Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know, and I mean, they did kind of turn that around. They went for the more modern approach in the second game, which is Chimera Squad, or the third game technically, which is okay. It's an okay game. It's a little bit unpolished, to be frank, and instead of having bunches and bunches of grunts, you actually have these dedicated soldiers who can do everything, and it kind of defies the genre itself a little. Um, but it's okay. Like that's the best thing I can really say about Chimera Squad. It was fun, but there's a lot of just stuff that makes it feel different from a normal X.
About that, um, have you ever
What's up?
noticed like the villain stereotype where like they are doing this for some like they need to do this, they need to be
Yeah.
evil for some
Mhm,
moral thing.
mhm.
Like I think we need more just like I'm evil because I hate you.
Yeah, I like those. I like those in general, but I do like this sort of like I don't know. I think both can work. I do definitely think the greater reason is definitely probably arguably the better written character, the character who actually has motivation outside of logical motivation outside of well I'm just evil and I hate you. But I think it's sometimes just nice to let your player or whatever you want to call them, sort of sit back and relax and say, well, I mean, I don't really have to have any moral quandaries about fighting this guy. He just wants to kill all of humanity.
Yeah.
And I
What's
don't
wrong
think
with that?
it's not the best in terms of, I guess, educating, future generations or whatever on how to handle your problems, so to speak. But as long as you're, reasonably minded, it's fine. It's like, yeah, you know what? I know I'm not really. If somebody punches me in the face, I'm not going to try to kill him. Shockingly, even if he's been a jerk, I know he has more going on than this villain in this
Uh,
video game.
well, I mean,
I might. No.
if he's a jerk, you know what I do to
Not
jerks,
like the Phantom Thieves.
Phantom
I'm gonna change this
Thieves.
guy's heart because he said he wanted to have sex with my girlfriend.
Whoa!
Yeah, I
Okay,
know,
sorry.
right?
I just peeked the mic right there. I saw that.
Yeah. Um.
um what I mean again in terms of landscapes, I'm running a complete blank here.
I mean, the setting. Just to get you started, Persona could be a good one to talk about.
Oh yeah. Why am I stupid?
Because
Why
a
am
lot
I
of people know about
stupid?
Persona, of course, and it's not a niche opinion or whatever, but it still is an interesting concept.
Yeah, the palace designs are crazy.
Right. Just the
And
concept of a
how
shadow world is interesting.
where it's like you have a bank, you have a palace because of what they think, like what they think, what's going on in their head is what designs the palace, and it's kind of cool. It is cool.
Yeah, no, it is.
Um,
It's very interesting.
like what's your favorite palace?
Oh, from five or I
Five.
guess houses are only technically in five. Uh, oh boy, this is gonna require a second of thought.
Yeah.
I liked the stylistically. I really liked Psy's Palace or the
The
six. I think
casino,
that's the six. Yeah, the casino.
dude. The casino
I just
was
like I love the
really good.
I love casino stuff. It's great. It's just good stylistically. It's all this bright lights, flashing stuff, manipulation subtly while trying to also entertain.
And
Just entertain so much
the
so that nobody
vocal
notices.
track, the vocal track that played in the background. The only palace with
Mm,
a vocal track.
true. Yeah.
Um.
Though I think let's see if I can remember. I mean, of course, slight spoilers. The obviously bad guy is a bad guy. Shido's palace is pretty neat. I like the cruise ship. It's cool. I really like the backing music there. The backing music there is great.
I don't know. The rat part made me angry at
Really?
times.
I
At
mean, it was stupid.
times,
It's
yeah,
just a puzzle with
it
great.
was funny.
It was a fun
Favorite
joke.
palace.
But I will admit,
Um,
for favorite, kind of oh right, I couldn't even remember if Utaba had a palace for a second there. Jeez.
Utabo's was the
Uh,
pyramid.
I know it was the pyramid. I remember now, but what was the fifth? Was she the fifth? And if she was the fifth, who was
Uh,
the fourth?
Okay, so we had Palace one was Kamoshida.
Yep.
Then Okumura was
Yeah.
the Okumura was the bank, right?
No.
The
Oh
sec
wait, the third?
Yeah, the third was the bank. The second was the
The museum. Art
Madarame
museum.
Madarame Art
Yeah, art
Museum.
museum.
Okumura Bank. Palace for
I thought that was Kanashiro.
Oh yeah, Okumura Foods was the food factory.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the missing piece. Yeah, that was
Yes.
five.
Yes, it was. Man, I'm trying to think because there
No,
was
that's all.
sign.
I mean, that's it.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Size was the
Because
six, and Cheetos were the seven.
and then the eighth was Mementos.
Ooh, spoilers.
Ah,
Yeah.
spoilers. My
Spoilers.
bad.
Spoilers.
Hmm.
Out of
Favorite
all of those,
palace. I might say the casino as well, but
I might do the bank. Like, as in favorite.
yeah,
I think it does kind of stem back to that idea of hateable villains. Kanashiro is just a dick.
yeah,
He's just like a perv, a dick, and everything else wrapped into one. And he's just like, he's easy to hate. I mean, I don't know. He's just a little fat guy.
who had
I did like and
resemblance
I really
to
liked Kanashiro's boss fight. I thought it was funny. I mean, it was pretty
who's on the
rudimentary in terms
ball.
of mechanics. Yeah, but it was. I always like those boss fights where you can sort of think it out as opposed to just have raw power or raw strength or just a broken stand.
I'm gonna say Sai Nijima's palace
Yeah,
because
that's fair. Or it
that
did also
boss
have
fight,
interesting mechanics. Yeah,
you could make bets.
it was cool,
It was
but it was
rigged.
hardly a mechanic. Yeah,
It was a rigged bets, but eventually they went to normal bets,
yeah,
and
they did.
I've seen
I didn't really
runs
use
of
it. I just
people who were
kicked
like,
the shit out of it.
I've seen runs of people not doing it the traditional way that the game wants you to.
I did like her transformation. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I like Shido's transformation, like through these stages. That was really cool. And I will say, slight spoilers. Uh, the palace in the royal content is also pretty interesting.
Which one?
The palace in royal.
Oh, well, I never played Royal.
I know. I'm just. That's why I'm not going to
Cringe.
talk about it because
Cringe.
I think you bought it. I mean, what?
I have it. Yeah, I just haven't played it.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say it, but it was really cool. It was much more sinky than the other ones, so to speak. But
Hmm.
it was still good. And the boss fight was. Oof.
All right. So what do we want to talk about after that? Favorite games or
If you'll give me one more setting discussion,
okay?
real quick. There's another game which I find really interesting. My Time at Portia. It's a farming game, so full grind,
Ah,
full right now, right? But it's well, the game's style is a little interesting. It's a little, it looks cheap. I'll be honest. Um, but the setting of it is actually really neat. On the note that it's a post-apocalypse. However, it's sort of a regrown post-apocalypse, and there is even like this sort of church entity that preaches against technology out of the fears of what has come before will come again, and such like that. And it's a really neat idea because, like, if you try to use advanced technology, they'll actually go against you. They'll actually start losing opinion of you, and it's really interesting. Just on that note, just that it's making just such a controversial statement in comparison to the modern day to say technology. I mean, not technology bad is not really an uncommon thing to hear, but to say technology is not even worth having is definitely an entirely different standpoint. And especially, it's just interesting to see. It's a like because of the post-apocalypse, a lot of the buildings are kind of scrap, and there's these sort of giant towers that loom from the ancient corporations and stuff like that. And it's just crazy. And there's like a lot of like different events they described and don't really show because everything's sort of a little bit peachier in the modern, or well, it's modern day, but it's really interesting. It's just an interesting concept to have a post-apocalypse, except everything's not as shitty as it is in every post-apocalyptic game.
yeah. I mean, um, I like post apocalyptic stuff.
Oh, I do. I like post. I mean, that's plainly written. Um,
I haven't
But
played too many. I'm kind of interested in that one Microsoft one with the vampires.
mm,
That one
yeah,
looks
yeah, yeah.
pretty fun, but it also could be pretty bad. But yeah, I don't really have any have any more I don't know, landscapes
Yeah,
just aren't like something I guess
pay
stick.
attention
I
to.
don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I mean like I look at it and I'm like, "Oh, well, that's pretty." And then I just keep going on without about the game, you know.
Deep Rock also has a good setting, but I'll stop on that. I'm
More
not even
like
getting to that with my favorite games. So you,
Yeah, so do we want to move on to favorite games or
I don't see why not.
all right.
Start
If I was to say my favorite game, it's hard to put one at number 1,
loading.
but
I probably won't.
I would probably say Sonic Heroes or like Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2.
Mm, okay.
Or Genshin Impact, but like I don't know if I'd call that number 1 cuz it's only been out for like a year. But not saying you can't have something that's relatively new be your favorite game. I play Genshin all the time and I love the game so much, but there's so many
Sure.
things that I wish they would like change,
Yeah.
and it would probably be a lot higher if they put out explore like a place to explore faster than, you know, 2 areas in a whole year. But that's besides the point. Sonic Heroes I think is just like peak 3D
Peak
Sonic.
Sonic.
Maybe not peak 3D Sonic, but no, honestly, I've been waiting for a game that's fully 3D because that game was fully 3D.
And good.
And none of this, yeah, and good. None of this stupid what they're doing now with the boost formula where hold square,
What
run fast, and then we're gonna
what I
throw in
like,
some, we're gonna throw in some 2D side scroller portions
what I
that
like
are
run fast.
well, I like run fast too, but I like to be able to like have a
I
level to
like run
explore
fast.
rather than all right, look a straightaway, use your boost and run fast, and then it's like all right, we're gonna switch it to 2D now and now maneuver, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that just makes the games way too linear, and that's what they're going with right now. But I want like a sequel to Sonic Heroes or something where it's like there's 3 different characters on a team, one and some characters you need to get to certain areas. Oh, I need to fly to get up there. Oh, I need strength to get up there. Oh, I need to find a key around the level to get here. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's a neat concept.
It encourages exploration. It encourages like don't just run straight to the goal. And I think that game is amazing and I've played it multiple times, but I still can't get all the Chaos Emeralds. I haven't tried recently, but that was so to get the true final boss, you had to beat all the special stages.
Really?
So
That's cool.
technically, you could get to the final Eggman boss and beat it, but you don't figure out until you get the true ending that Metal Sonic was impersonating Eggman, and Eggman's
Mm,
like locked up the entire game.
right,
So
right.
you're
You
not
mentioned that.
actually fighting Eggman;
Spoilers,
you're
right?
fighting Metal Sonic.
Spoilers
It,
for the
yeah,
how many a year old game.
yeah. And unless you play as Team Chaotix, and with Team Chaotix, um, they have a
You're working
client
with.
who's trying to get them to like go collect things because their gameplay. Each team has different gameplay. Their gameplay was finding stuff around the map, and they were working for Eggman. They didn't know it, but Eggman was locked up, and he was communicating with them to basically
Yeah,
come and
get him
find
free.
him.
Well, that's a neat idea.
Um,
Yeah.
while all of the times when they were running into Eggman, and which was like all the bosses on the different levels, was not actually Eggman.
Mhm.
And but the only way to figure that out is because like the first ending is literally just oh okay wait a minute it's a robot because like the head pops off and you're like oh well I guess the adventure's over
Well, they
woo
finally killed Eggman for real this time.
end cutscene like why is there a robot all right end cutscene you don't know until you get all of the emeralds which are not easy to get you don't get to fight the true boss fight and honestly I want to go back and do it man because I've watched
Hey,
videos. It looks
yeah.
so fun. It looks so fun. And I know I could probably just download a completed save, but it's not cool. I need to do it myself.
Yeah, I don't mean to be contradictory, but I will say, when was the last time you played Heroes?
Uh couple years ago.
Do you think a lot of it's nostalgia speaking, or
I genuinely think, like, yes, it's probably nostalgia because it was one of my first video games, but I genuinely think that Sonic Team was at its peak at Sonic Heroes
interesting?
because, honestly, just the current formula, and it's probably it's the same developer team, but it's probably different people. The current modern Sonic formula is way too linear, and I
Yeah.
think, in my own opinion, that the only way to revive Sonic is a open world game
Mm,
where you can run around, find different things. Like there was a fan game that did it. I think it's called like Green Hill Zone Act 2 or something like that.
mhm.
And I think that is the only way to revive Sonic as a franchise because they've tried all these different things like the Wii when they had him they gave Sonic a sword, they gave Sonic like
Oh
they've
yeah.
tried all these different things and it's not working. I think we need to go back cuz Sonic Heroes isn't open world,
Mhm.
but it definitely gave you more room to like see different parts of the levels, you know.
Yeah,
And,
right. That makes
um,
sense.
of course, there's some areas like, oh, you can't go back. You went over that big gap, and now you can't go back. It's not completely open, but it's not completely linear either. You know, you don't have to have a game be open world to not be linear
Right.
to an
I
extent.
think that's definitely true.
Um, so while I literally just thought earlier I might play that tonight. I might get Dolphin Emulator up
Maybe,
or
yeah.
pull my
We
PS2
don't
out of the
condone the use of
closet.
elevators.
Yeah, I mean, I have the copy of the game in my closet
No,
with
we
my
don't condone the
PS2.
use of emulators. Nope.
No,
Oh,
we don't condone the use of ROMs.
oh,
Um,
oh,
emulators are completely legal.
I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah, no, emulators are completely legal. It's the ROMs.
mm,
But Sega's different. Sega's not like Sega real like even when like people make fan games and stuff, Nintendo will take down fan games and all that, but Sega lets it all. Like
Sonic's king.
yeah, remember when they put that thing on Twitter saying all your OCs are canon, and
Oh
it's just
yeah.
like
What a what
Sega's
a what a crime.
Sega's honestly pretty supportive of the fan community. Like they literally hired a team of fans to make Sonic Mania.
That
It
is
was a
true. Yeah,
it was a
I will admit
developer
they are
team.
better on that note. Right.
Um, so do I think Sega's gonna get mad that I'm playing Sonic Heroes on a GameCube emulator? Probably not.
Yes, they're gonna ban us
You know
from
what?
Sega.
Then they can
We'll never
release
be
it
able to
on
play Sonic
Steam.
again.
They should release it on Steam for like 10, $15, and I'll buy it. But as of right now, they won't release Sonic Unleashed on Steam. That's another one of my favorite ones, but I played the PS2 version, not the HD version. I played that a lot. But what was the other game? I mean, you could do one first. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about Xenoverse 2, but
I'll go ahead. I
sure.
think okay. So I guess I should preface um I will I will talk about Fallout probably. But I think I'm gonna
Ah!
lead I know. I'm gonna probably lead with something else. Something one of my favorite games, because I'm not really gonna go into like a top to bottom ranking, because that's just not really how I think more or less.
Yeah.
Um but I think one of my favorite games ever, and I think this is almost building upon what you said, Deep Rock Galactic. I know I just mentioned it, and I'm going to talk about it now.
Uh,
So I know. For those out of the loop, basically Deep Rock is a payday game, sort of like Payday, where it's a team shooter, 4 persons. Each person can play as a different role, maybe not to the same degree of customization as Payday in terms of guns and whatever, but there is a lot of customizations options. But my point is that there are 4 different classes. Each class has different weapons, different gear, and different ways to traverse the environment, um, and just different ways to be built. And I think it's just one of my favorite games ever, because it's just so well. To go back to setting, just real quick, like the setting is so spot on. It's great. It's this because Deep Rock Galactic, dwarves. It's dwarves. It's space. The galactic part tells you the space, and the Deep Rock might give you a hint on the fact that dwarves. But oh, it's just. I mean, I'm a dwarf guy. Dwarfs are great. They're just funny little men who like to drink and mine and get money. And I think
Mm.
that's almost all fantasy races are kind of a how do you say, hyperbolic version of people or certain types of people. Dwarves are probably the most, sort of the greedy, but also sort of party kind of. It's a weird mix, but it works very well in my opinion. And I think
What are orcs?
orcs,
Yeah,
uh,
well,
hard to
watch
say.
your
Orcs are just
words.
warlike.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, fascists.
Oh, so true.
I mean that's just well, that's more has to do with culture, and culture is not really built. But yada yada yada. We can go into that later. Um, my so basically the reason why I think it's worth playing or seeing or anything is just the style of the game. Great, looks good. Um, for that matter, has support with consistent updates. They're adding new guns like as we speak, practically. Which is a big thing because all the guns have different mods on them and can do different things and different functions. And there's overclocks as well. There's a high degree of customization for the guns. There's also like a lot of cosmetics and no in-game transactions except for like a couple special ones, but that's really only if you want to. Um, but it is very good in terms of letting you customize your character as well as your weapon and letting you play differently based on how your weapon's customized. Like you could practically make at least 3 different builds based on the same weapons, but just with different sort of little modifications instead of others. And I mean that's great, but the setting, it's just so good in terms of it's dwarves, and dwarves are great. I mean that's in my book goes without saying, but it's in the modern day in space, and that's like it's a stupid concept, but it's so just out there that it honestly works. Just to the note where it's dwarves in space, and that's what they do. They do what you think they do. They go around and mine planets and go into danger so they can get more money, as opposed to actually worrying about their own safety. And they hate elves, and they're just general dwarves. And it's just such like and the way everything works, like how everything looks like it's been thrown together. It's all ramshackle a lot of the time, and a lot of the fact that they have overclocking in the first place shows just how willing they're to risk safety over, efficiency or efficiency over safety. And it's just good. It's just so good how they, just feel like dwarves. They feel like I don't care if I get hurt as long as I can bring home a bunch of money. And it's just such like a great setting. But when it comes down to gameplay, I would consider it just as good because team shooters in general are honestly some of the most fun games that I ever played. Just to the note where it's that great sense of cooperation because you can play games that are multiplayer and less competitive games. But you can even play games where you're on the same team, but they pit you against each other to small degrees. Especially games like Divinity. Divinity is a great game, but you're kind of against each other because of different elements in the game and things like that. Or just general games. People are bound to argue about certain things, and that's fine. But I think that life or death of the game is just such a good way to make people get along. To the note
Hmm.
where well, if I don't work with these guys, I'm going to die, and they're going to die, and well, I don't want to die, even if I'd like them to die, I'd rather not. So I'm just going to go along and help them, and it's great. It's just a great like sort of thing because and for that matter, the class's abilities mesh so well together because you can have like my favorite class being the driller. They have all these big AOE weapons like this. They have a flamethrower and satchel charges that can blow up in a huge AOE, and it's just such like that's horde control. But of course, a horde control character will fare incredibly poorly against big tanky enemies. So then you have people like the gunner. The gunner has a huge gun, single target, of course, but shoots tons of bullets really fast, does a ton of damage. Of course, the driller's name also comes from the fact that they have drills, which adds on to their sort of usefulness in terms of drills can get you through rock quickly when most classes can't really dig fast at all aside from maybe explosives. And that's sort of where the gunner fails is well they're pretty much single target, but they can spray in a horde and whatever. But they're not as utility as others. They do have like a grappling hook, but it has few, or not a grappling hook. They have a zip line, but it has few charges in comparison to others. The engineer, they can build turrets, so basically more guns on the field, always good. The scout has great mobility. They actually have a grappling hook. They can zip to things that are out of the reach of others, which would take them a long time to get. And for that matter, I guess it's just such a they mesh so well, and you can go do well by yourself, but you'll do like 10 times better even with heightened difficulty as a team.
Hmm.
And it's these moments where you can, you know, it's like, I'm being attacked, I'm down, and then you get up and then you run and then you get to the exit. It's just like such an adrenaline rush to the point where I escaped, but just by the skin of my teeth, and it just feels so good to get out. And even when you lose, you can still have some pretty cool moments.
So, you want to know something crazy?
What's up?
I had no idea. Well, I probably looked at it once, but a while ago. I forgot that Deep Rock Galactic was a first-person game. Was a first-person shooter.
Yeah, technically. I
Yeah.
think the team-based elements makes first-person shooters much more tolerable.
I
Personally.
was always thinking it was like a
What, like an RTS or something?
yeah, like or some no, not like an RTS, but like some like
Strategy.
8-bit
Mm.
like something.
I really
I
like the
don't know.
style. Stylistically, it's really nice. It's not. It's like low poly basically, but it's sort of low poly to the point where you can basically it looks like polygons that are being put together to look good.
Space Dwarf Simulator 2020.
It is, yeah. That's my honest review.
Now, why'd you say that on October 31st, 2019?
I didn't.
Oh, wait, you updated your review. May
Yeah.
14th, 2020. Ah, see. Somebody changed their opinion. What'd your first
Rotten
review
Stone,
say?
baby.
What'd your first review
It said
say?
Space Force Simulator 2019.
Oh, and you updated it in 2020?
Yeah, because that's when it fully released.
Oh, was it an early access game?
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
I can segue us later. But yeah, that's honestly one of my favorite games.
seems fun.
It is. It's really fun. Hey man, if you want to pick it up,
I'm broke.
oh fuck you.
Ah! You can't say that.
It's
You can't. You
$15,
literally
God.
can't say that. Yeah, $15. Too much.
Bitch. Okay.
Oh, this guy
Continuing
made fun of
on.
me. This guy made fun of me for not having $15.
Even I have $15.
You want to buy it for me? That's what I thought. All right.
Okay, I will.
I was gonna talk about Dragon Ball Z Universe 2.
Sure, go for it. I
What
like
makes
the
it one
game.
of my favorite games is because it's just like it is a very refined and very supported game. Especially you can tell that
Yeah.
the developers like actually care, and that's like so crazy. Um, I played Xenoverse 1. It was one of the first games that I had on my Xbox 360. Whoa. And I played a lot. I had like a max level Saiyan. But it wasn't nearly as easy to like make other characters and do all this stuff as it is in Xenoverse 2. And even then, like Xenoverse 1 was pretty broken. In terms of like Saiyans were like so powerful. No other race had a transformation besides Potential Unleashed. Which was like
Really? Oh.
yeah, which you needed to be level like 95 or something to get Potential Unleashed.
Wow, right.
So meaning Saiyans already had transformations. They already had access to Super Saiyan pretty early on in the game. And it's just
Yeah.
like, oh well, I can't get Potential Unleashed until I'm level 95. I think it like gave you 4 levels or something like that. I don't remember too much, but the game's like $5 right now, and I'm never gonna pick it up because Xenoverse 1 did not age well, like at all. Granted, without it we wouldn't have Xenoverse 2, which Xenoverse 2 took everything from Xenoverse 1 and made it better.
Yeah. So
They were like, "Oh, okay, you know that stamina system that was kind of not that great? Let's refine it." And so not only can you use stamina to teleport behind someone, to like snap vanish behind them.
You mean instant transmission?
No, it's not instant transmission. That's a separate move.
Ah!
Dumb, stupid.
You says, you says, you say.
But now we're gonna make like where we can do stamina rushes and snap vanishes, and we're gonna just have more things you can do with your stamina. And stamina breaks as well. I think one thing that made Xenoverse 1 like really bruh was you can break your opponent's stamina in in Xenoverse 2 to where basically if their stamina bar is full and you get them in that combo and then you hit them with a stamina break, which is like it's a heavy punch, but it's not like a hit Y for heavy. You actually have to time it and it has to sink into the combo. Your opponent it just completely gets rid of all their stamina and has to recharge. Whereas in the other game you didn't have that. In the other game, if what made Saiyan so broken was when you were a Saiyan, you get your ki, your energy all the way up, and Super Saiyan would kind of just progressively drain your energy, but you could just have unlimited supers and unlimited alts. So your alts and all that didn't use any energy, and they took that out. Thank God they took that out. They changed it to where, okay, yeah, you have 4 bars of energy, you can turn Super Saiyan, but your attacks are still going to use it. In the first game, it would just progressively go down, you wouldn't use it, but once it hit 0, you would lose the transformation. This one, you take the transformation, it doesn't matter how much ki you have, as long as you got to those 4 bars, you can transform, but you still have to collect ki to do moves. You can't just launch unlimited supers. It's like, that's what made Saiyans so broken, because you had unlimited supers. And it's just like, oh, okay, I can spam. So they got rid of that, which made the game a lot more competitive, which one of my favorite things about that game was PvP. Like fighting other players. Because, it was actually, I had this group that I played with on Xbox One, and we would always do like PvP and stuff, and it was honestly so fun. Because it was a group of like four of us, and we would always do like 2v2s and stuff, and it was so fun.
That's like a neat idea, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could do that stuff again, but they also made it a lot easier to just make different custom characters. Like, it only took me like a day. Once you get that first character, you do the entire story, you grind that character up, you can go onto another character and you can get them up pretty quickly by paying a Namekian to level you up. It's kind of funny, but that way you don't have to like do the whole story again to get all that XP. You can just, I want to create another character,
Right.
And as well as just everything they added Super Saiyan 3, they added Super Saiyan Blue, which drains ki progressively, just like the one in the first game, Super Saiyan, but when you use a move, it still uses ki. So you'll still use 3 bars if you're using a move that uses 3 bars while it's draining. So makes it really powerful, but also, unless I had a build where I would go Super Saiyan Blue, and then I had a build that I just had to hit my charge for like 1 second. If I got hit, it wouldn't activate, but it raised my energy gain. So then all I had to do was kind of just hit people and use basic combat to try and just keep the ki up so I wouldn't lose the transformation. It was difficult, but it was honestly like, it's just so much better. And not only did they bring all the DLC from the first game for free as, base game content, that game came out in like 2016, and they have it updated with all of the Dragon Ball Super stuff.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Like even the latest movie, the Broly movie, they have all of those DLC packs. And with the DLC, not only do you get a character, you get a stage, but you also get a story quest and parallel quests as well. You get a lot of stuff. Like that is one of the Bandai Namco games where it's like, wow, this is a really good game. And because Xenoverse 1 got clowned on for like, this is not good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from what you say, it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, it was like, and at least Xenoverse 2 has like a hub world that you can fly around in and you can explore and all that. The Xenoverse 1 hub was terrible. Oh my god, it was terrible. You couldn't fly. All you could do was walk. They didn't have vehicles like the first one, and there was just 4 separate areas. One for like co-op, the other for like going out on story mission, and then the other for like stupid things. I don't know. It was not great. That game did not age well, like at all. Of course, it was like it came out after Ultimate Tenkaichi, and that game was literally rock paper scissors, the video game. Like, oh, he's gonna choose this. What do you choose? Oh, I choose this. Oh, you won rock paper scissors. But no, honestly, there's a reason that I played so much on Xbox, probably like 200, 300 hours on Xbox, and I have like 120 on Steam. Because that game is so fun. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to rant too much on Xenoverse 2.
I don't mind.
Great game.
Yeah.
Great game. If anybody doesn't have it and you like just fighting games, because it's custom characters too.
Stupid,
it's
more
fun.
like.
Pick it up on Steam or your band.
Oh.
Yeah. It's $7.49 on Steam for the
It's not
base
bad.
game.
But
And
Deep Rock's only like twice that, so buy that instead.
who are you again?
I think you could have like twice the fun for twice the price.
I don't think that's true.
I think that's true.
Yeah, I think you're
You know what? Yeah, you know what? You're right. I know it's true.
I think you're truly stupid.
I think you're really stupid. Shut up.
Oh my gosh. I bet you watch VTubers. Shut up. All
I bet
right.
you watch porn.
Hey.
Oh no porn reference.
Hey, you can't say that. Anyway, yeah.
Oh, anyway.
I mean, do you have another one? Why?
Of course, I have another one.
Let me go get some burger and chips, please.
I like video game.
Oh, really? I bet you like Apex Legends.
Oh my goodness, I'm not stupid. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Let me guess. Craftopia.
Oh yeah. Actually, I haven't bought Craftopia yet. You know what? I'm just gonna go out here and say it. So I've already explained how I like. I'm gonna stray away from the games I've talked about before because you guys, or at least or listeners, should be able to accurately assume I'm a real big fan of Dragon Age. I'm a real big fan of Fallout New Vegas, and I'm a real big fan of GTA 5, but to a lesser degree, to be honest. I like it a lot, but
70s.
not as much. I already said Fallout. No.
Fallout 75.
No, they haven't made that yet.
Oh, okay.
So to go off that beaten path, Stellaris, that's a game I like. It's a different sort of to the pretty much every other game we've talked about, really. Because while most games that we've talked about actually have a story, at least to some small degree, Stellaris is practically a sandbox. It's a 4X game, which means basically a strategy game, except it's not Civ. Or wait, no, Civ is a 4. It means something. I to be honest, I forget. But it's a pause and play as opposed to a turn-based game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I don't know why. I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know why I like the game so much. Like every time I get away from the game for a while, I usually think, oh yeah, I could play Stellaris, and then like whenever I get back into it, I'm like, holy shit, I want to play more Stellaris. And it's the weirdest experience, to be honest.
And then you stop playing.
I stop playing, and then I'll usually think, what if I played Stellaris? I mean, and I'll usually feel like, I'm not really sure I'd want to. And it's like, oh shit, I want to play some Stellaris. Damn, this is actually fun. And I don't exactly get it. Like honestly, it confuses me, but it's just really fun game because it's so it's similar to things like Crusader Kings and stuff like that, except sci-fi. And Crusader Kings definitely has that higher degree of customization, and that makes me like it on that degree. But Stellaris has the higher degree higher degree of character interaction. But Stellaris definitely has the higher degree of customization because I mean you just have races of aliens or people or whatever you want to be, and it's only 8 different ideologies that you can sort of mix and match them to as much as you like, and I probably end up like at least 64 different combinations of different. And there's all these different civics, which give you different ways to play, and it's just such like an interesting thing to go through and see these other empires and see how they rise and fall and attempt to deal with this because a big part of the game is the crises. There'll eventually be like this big enemy that'll come along and kick the shit out of everybody, and it's sort of because a lot of the time Stellaris is not an easy game. I'll go with that because while Stellaris in the early game insanely easy, like if you play on honestly. full confession, I play on Ensign most of the time. That is the easiest difficulty.
Oh, you
Uh,
literal enzyme.
that too. But it's really easy on the note of fighting other empires. But once the end game crisis comes around, you're just dead. Like most of the time, like unless I still haven't cracked it myself, but I still really do enjoy the game. A lot of the time, that end game crisis can kick your ass easy. They just give it so many ships and everything, and it makes sense. But man, it's like ugh.
What if
It's
you
it's
just
it's great.
what if you just run?
You can't. No. I mean, there's a limited map, of course. Shockingly,
What if you just leave?
could just leave, yeah. And there's also something where you can become the crisis in the most recent expansion, and that's pretty cool. But it's all these different ways of escalating power and trying to survive a lot of times. Because there's usually it's less of I mean, a lot of the time if you play your cards right, it can be intergalactic conquest simulator, but a lot of the time it's usually I'm a little empire in the corner of space, please do not kill me. Um and it just allows for all these interesting decisions to be made because like there's something called there's these pirate factions and they can evolve into like what they call the Great Khan and they'll usually have this giant conquest and then they'll just die most of the time. And then once they die, everything crumbles and you get all these little successor states that are made of old empires. You can see the other empires trying to get their old land back, and it's really just a neat way to look at things and get all these different alien species and have all these different interactions. And there's a lot of story events and like a lot of reading to be done if you want to do it. But even if you don't want to do the reading part, you can still get all these new different technologies that make you so much more powerful and stuff like that. And all this stuff, set colonizing. It's just so many things that work very well together. And I think another good game would be like Endless Space. But I guess what Stellaris does better than Endless Space, in my opinion, is the sort of the pause nature as opposed to the turn nature. Because I do like turn based, but I don't know. I don't know. I just like the clock version better in terms of like
Mhm.
games like Stellaris or things like that. But I do, I don't know. I can't entirely say that, but it just works, man. It's good. It's good. Of course, it's a Paradox
Strategy.
game, so it has a million DLCs, so it's hard to get into if you want all the cool and epic features. But as long as you do multiplayer, a
Oh
lot of the time
wow.
you can. Yeah, a
I
lot of the
see.
time you can basically just leech off the host's DLCs. So hey,
But
if it works, it works.
looking at Steam, the summer sale starter pack, $43, normally $119.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The game's normally $40. So
The hobby about as
$43 will
expensive as
get you
drug addiction.
yeah, for $43 will get you Stellaris, Leviathan story pack, Utopia,
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's everything.
Synthetic Dawn story pack, Apocalypse,
It's everything
Dist-
except the most recent DLC, which is pretty good.
Ancient Relic story pack.
I do like the most recent DLC.
Oh wait, Ultimate Bundle, $109 as opposed to
Yeah.
$231.
For me, the Ultimate Bundle is $3 because I already own everything in it.
That's a tragedy.
Yeah, it is. Look, Garrett, everybody, you play Genshin Impact. Don't talk to me.
I play Genshin Impact.
And Fate Grand Order.
Ah,
You already have your money hold.
true. Hey man, I'd put more money into Genshin if they started putting more content worth my money out.
Got him. Okay. So now
yeah.
it's your turn. Come on.
Oh,
Chop.
a game, game
Ella's favorite
good.
game. Go for it.
I like Code Vein a lot.
Stupid.
Oh, I like Dark Souls 3, but anime.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It makes me want to die.
Yeah, I like to bash my head into a brick wall from time to time. What's up?
Yeah.
Okay, real favorite game. I really like Sonic Mania. I've played through it
Oh my
probably
goodness.
4 or 5 times.
This guy
But like,
literally picks 2 Sonic games.
okay, fine. I
I don't care, Garrett. Go
okay.
for it.
I like Blaze Blue a lot. I like the franchise a lot.
Ooh,
Because I've talked about Sonic Mania before, I'm pretty sure, and if I
Yeah.
haven't,
you
again,
did. I remember.
team of developers, big, cool, epic. It's free on Epic
Cool,
Game Store.
epic.
Probably not anymore, but last month it was.
See. probably is.
Yeah, honestly, I really like the Blaze Blue franchise. I think my favorite one is
The one
Central
with the
Fiction.
Ooh.
Gonna be honest, I could not tell you the actual basis of the story because I really only play it for arcade mode because I just like to find a character that I'm pretty good at and then get as far as I can as it gets harder and harder and you only like if you die, you die, you know?
Die, you
And
die. If you dead, you
there's
dead.
also like some arcade modes will start you at full health. Some of the harder ones will just straight up just be like, "Oh, we'll heal you partially, but we're not going to full heal you every round, so you'll progressively as harder as it gets, you'll eventually lose." I like arcade mode. Honestly, that's another reason I like Dragon Ball Fighters a lot because that's just our Arc system works in general. I like a lot of their fighting games. But I also hate a lot of their fighting games. They can make like a really good fighting game, or they could make one that's like insanely broken. Or they can make one that's insanely easy. They're honestly pretty good. They do Guilty Gear? I'm not sure. I don't think they do Guilty Gear. I like 2D fighters a lot. I don't know if I have an absolute favorite. I've been playing more of Cross Tag Battle, just because it's not as hard as Central Fiction, but it looks better. It's got the Ruby characters in it. It's got the Persona 4 characters in it, and it's just fun. It's fun. It's one of those like easy to pick up games. Of that, I mean, I just stemmed the idea if there's any. We already talked about games we're looking forward to technically, but
actually, you talked about 3 games, so I get to talk about 3 games.
Oh, I mean, I'm just saying Arc System works in general. I like the Blaze Blue franchise. I should try and invest myself into the story. But I just like the fighting. I'll do the fighting.
Yeah.
I did the story
enough,
for
really.
Blaze Blue a long time ago. It from what I know, it's good, but I need to actually sit down and do it. So I won't say like it's my favorite, but I do play a lot of fighting games, so it's like, why not? I own all of them, so I know what you're gonna say. I know what your next favorite game is. I know it. Among Us.
Say it.
Among Us.
Oh yeah, that works.
Yep. This guy likes Among Us.
I like Among Us.
All right. Talk to me about Among Us.
No, I don't want to. I'm gonna talk about Stardew Valley.
Oh, that game?
Yeah, the one where you do a farm.
Okay. Do you even have a completed farm?
Yeah.
Didn't think so. I didn't think so. You don't even have a completed farm, and I'm supposed to believe that you're a Stardew Valley fan?
Farming fan. The point of my matter being, it's just a good game. Like, man, I don't know. I'm a real sucker for those freaking just the games where you run around, talk with townsfolk, and grow some crops, man. It's like, because I will admit, like, while the farming is the core mechanic, it's almost more of an idle hands thing than anything else, because the most interesting part about the game is normally the character. In terms of these characters all have their own things, and there's different little events that can happen, and little stories that can sprout, and it's just good. It's just fun. It's good. You can make more money, progress, and it's just nice, relaxing. Really, like that's all I can really say. It's just it's a style that works really well for me in terms of, oh yeah, I can learn more about these characters as I go on, as well as sort of develop my farm, gain money, and stuff like that. Because honestly, those are like my 2 favorite things in video games. Is sort of really boiled down and simplified is the fact that I really like a game where you can make progression and make progression
and
into
money.
sort of making progression money or whatever you want to call it, and, as well as high customization using that money is really great. That's like honestly one of my favorite things. And for that matter, the second thing is great characters. Like if you have a game where I can make sort of a little enterprise or whatever you want to call it, as well as learn about great characters and sort of have a couple laughs, have a couple whatevers. It's just good. I like it.
So, are you talking about Stardew Valley or Idle Manager?
I'm actually talking about Idle. But yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's about the long and short of it, unless there's anything else.
I have a friend
What do you
who
think I
plays
should say?
Stardew
It's not
Value.
me.
Yeah, that's not you. And he was telling me like, dude, it's one of those games where I can just like sit back and be brain dead, and just like,
I mean, that's certainly one way to describe it, but
it's
I'm
one of
not
those
stupid,
like,
so I wouldn't say that.
relax games. Well, you are stupid.
No, I take my farming very seriously.
Fair enough. But like you mentioned, making money, and you
Well,
mentioned the reason you like Idle Manager is because you can make money.
I mean, that's not really how I think about it, to be honest. I do like being able to I like games where you have to manage a business, where you have
Yeah.
to do costs, expenses, and try and you know outweigh the expenses with your how much you're earning, and it's good. It's good to be able to sort of use your money to develop further, and I like progression basically is what
hmm
I'm saying, except less with levels and more with cold hard cash.
Yeah. No, it looks fun. Same with Stardew Valley. I keep saying Stardew Value. Ah.
True value because you go
True.
for target user.
Great. No, it's great value. You
Oh my
stupid.
goodness, idiot.
But do we want to speak on? We're hitting almost an hour 10. Do we want to speak on a little bit on early access, or what do you want
We
to?
could probably go for 20 minutes about early access. Yeah,
Okay.
still.
Early access titles. I haven't played that
So,
many.
these are,
I played Get to the Orange Door.
oh yeah, that guy.
I found it when we were when I was watching. I think it was probably one of those UK YouTubers, like whether it
British
be
people.
Memulous or
Oh my goodness. Oh, you
um
mean like okay, you mean like that. You mean it's
yeah,
one of
like
those where they just play the
commentary.
game in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, that
Commentary losers.
yeah, like yo, that looks kind of cool. That looks like a cool game. And then I picked it up. I have a couple other games I picked up because of that. Valheim. Valheim's in early access,
Valheim.
correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Valheim gaming in real life.
Still need to play more Valheim, I'll be honest.
We do. We have a world on Valheim.
They do. We've
But
me when I'm on Valheim server.
once Biomutant came out, it was just like, no, I'm gonna only play Biomutant, guys. Cough, cough. Speaking of that, you have Biomutant, right, Ben?
Yeah.
I haven't really seen you play it.
Nope.
Is it
I
like,
mean,
was it not what you expected, or?
it was a little lackluster. I will admit, I need to go back to it because I had a good bit of fun with it. I'll be honest. Like I was having a ton of fun, but everything just felt a little. The game got shit on hard. Basically,
Yeah.
is the long and short of it, and that kind of like sort of took the wind out of my sails more or less.
Well, I mean, um, on that, we do need to get back on Valheim. I guess we could talk about Valheim, just both of us, instead of having
I
our
mean,
own.
what we should, in general, talking about early access is less than talking about one title is more. I was really thinking talking more about the concept of early access, sort of how we talked about pre-orders. Um, and personally, I'm for early access, but
You're for? Well, who isn't?
for it.
Like,
There's
could
some
you
people who are against early access.
really?
Yeah, naturally.
Oh, I mean, I'm for it as well, but
It's
like,
just one of those things because, a lot of the time, an early access game can just be an excuse to crap out an unfinished product and get some money.
oh, is there like a track record of early access games just never coming out of early
Oh,
access,
I mean,
or
dude, you don't really hear about them, of course, but there are tons of early access games probably that have just been sort of left by the wayside. They probably don't get
really?
big enough to the point where you'd hear about them, of course, but there's certainly there's things like there's a game that I bought like a while back called Timber and Stone. It's a neat game, neat concept.
Okay.
Sort of like it's kind of like games that try to emulate these sort of dwarf fortress kind of gameplay where you build a little town with these little colonists and they run around and do stuff and whatever. Um, I can't recall the last time there was an update for that game. I also can hardly recall the last time I played it.
Dang.
And it is, if you check on their Steam page, still in early access. It's also only $5.
Dang. I mean, early
And
access
that's not even
games,
on the sale.
they're known for being cheap, but like, yeah, I completely forgot about that whole like, all right, guys, we're working on this game. Let's sell it. Let's make some money, and then oh, we made good money. Let's abandon the project.
This guy has been working on it for technically 6 years, if he is still working on it.
Well, but then there's games like Get to the Orange Door and Valheim that are like proactively being worked on.
Oh, I know. I never said.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of early access games that have come out, which is good. I like it when I was looking at the Get to the Orange Door like patch list, like it actually sounds like there's a person typing it. You know, it's just like, all right, guys, I'm sorry, I got to put out another one, but we're coming out. It's gonna be fully released soon. You know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he calls the updates the like insanely late update, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, I guess then there's a, let's just throw something in Unreal Engine and then call it a early access.
On that note, what you were saying about him sort of saying updates being late and such, I do believe that is one, not from the consumer point of view, but one of the cons from the developer's point of view, is the fact that early access, I mean, it is sort of digging your own grave, so to speak, in terms of if an early access developer doesn't put out updates, they're going to start losing popularity. And that's personally perfectly reasonable. They said our game is in early access. Early access games imply the fact that you're going to continuously update. You're going to continuously be adding new content, improving on bugs, and trying to fix things. But if you don't do that, you'll get a bad reputation. Or for that matter, this is where the problem really arises, the fact that if you do that too slow.
Yeah, and then that's like, is it laziness or is it like time constraint?
Well, that's, I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter because you released your game. You said you were going to do this. We paid you money. Now you're going to have to put in the work for that money that was given to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't put it out on early access for a cash grab if you aren't prepared to proactively work on said title.
Right. Because a lot of the time, what early access does accomplish, and accomplishes well for that matter, is essentially what a Kickstarter accomplishes, but also without the extra layers, because a lot of the time a Kickstarter will also offer a playable version of the game.
Yeah.
So early access is basically saying, yeah, you give me money and I will, because a lot of the time Kickstarter can sort of say, oh yeah, if you give $1, I'll say your name once and never think about you again.
$1 a month, I do extra videos.
A lot of the time, yeah. The set amount for an early access game both provides income for the person who's putting it out there, as well as provides an actual product for those who can pay for it. It's a one-time purchase, unlike a Kickstarter Patreon would be the better example. Patreon, where you pay consistently, as opposed to a Kickstarter where you pay one time. Kickstarter is basically an early access game, except a little less finished.
Yeah.
It's usually like an earlier access to something that is going to exist, but does not yet. Yeah, I mean, it's, shockingly enough, the name actually does mean something to the point where a Kickstarter is supposed to kickstart a project.
Yeah, you have to kickstart the project before you can get.
And the kickstarting is not in the form of fuel or a generator running, but instead money.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think any player would agree that like early access titles are fun. Of course, they can be. But when I say any player would agree, any player would agree that if you're giving money, then you should expect a game.
Right. At least, especially a finished game at some point.
Yeah, a finished game at some point. Like $15 gives me a game in 6 years. Like, no, I want my game, 2 years maybe. I don't know. Like, there's games that are in early access for a long time.
Right. An early access game is certainly better than an unfinished game.
Oh, yeah, because that implies, hey, man, bugs are expected. Cough, cough.
I will admit, it would be interesting to see, because, early access is inherently tied to indie games as opposed to AAAs. hardly ever has there been. I mean, maybe there might be a beta for like an MMO or something, but for things
Call
like
of Duty beta only on PlayStation.
yeah, for things like especially something like Cyberpunk or anything like that, there's no demo, there's no nothing. It's just yes, this game will come out and it will be finished, or at least that's the promise.
You
Now,
use
however,
Cyberpunk as an example for a game that will be finished?
well, that was
Come
my
on.
point. It wasn't.
I know. I joke.
No joke allowed.
No old jokes. No old
But-
jokes.
The big thing is just it definitely is better to at least put that effort out there to say, oh yes, I definitely want to finish this, but I need more money to get it finished. And I guess a lot of the time that's the issue, or that's why indie developers can't. Is that indie developers, it's not that they don't have the drive or the attention to detail, it's that they don't have the cost. They don't have the money.
They got to pay their rent.
Right. But while they like that, a lot of the time when it comes down to AAA games, they have no reason to put it on early access aside from bug fixing. Something they should technically be able to do on their own.
Yeah,
But
they have a team for that.
it would, I know, but apparently they don't do their damn job. No, I mean that's they're
they
probably. I
refuse
mean,
to.
the truth of it is the fact that the developers probably don't give as much time as they need to test all the bugs and in an effort to get things out on time or whatever you want to say. But it is just one of those things where early access games are a necessary reality of the indie genre.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
And I don't think that's really a bad thing, per se. It's just a thing, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like like we
That's the
said
way things
before,
go.
indie developers don't have that kind of funding. So, if you want that, if you want that game to come out, a lot of times it has to be early access because sometimes they just don't have the they don't have the finances to do it. Because it's indie developer, because it's a small developer. Could be one person, could be multiple people. But yeah, I mean, I like them. I see why people wouldn't.
Right.
Do I play a lot of early access games? Not really. But
yeah, I play a lot and I like a lot.
Yeah, I don't play that many indie titles, I guess.
I play a lot of indie titles, and most of the time I enjoy them if I remember to actually play them. Yeah.
I remembered to play my indie title. My daily indie title.
Daily indie title, and there's probably like a YouTuber who does that. But
daily
that
indies.
aside, is there any other comments to be made?
Not on my end. What about you?
I mean, that's about the long and short of it. Early access games are fun, as they can be. Gives you, I mean, I guess you could, one quick comment just on the nature of how an early access game gives you something to do consistently. Because when a game releases, it may bore you, so to speak, in terms of like, oh, well, I mean, I played the game enough and I've seen enough to get my, enjoyment out of it. I'm just going to go play something else now. But with an early access game, it's always going to be, oh, new update just came out. Maybe I'll go check it out. It's that sort of, it does incentivize playing, which I think is definitely a good thing. It works
updating games. Like I like finished games, but free content updates are always good.
Right. I don't think there's anybody who would complain.
A lot of times, there's a lot of developers that will put out a DLC, and it's just like, wow, this was not worth my money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I hit everything I wanted to say.
Yeah, I'm kind of chilling.
Kind of chilling. I got
I
got attacked by yellow jacket wasps today.
Nobody asked. We talk about gaming, not wasps.
Wasps and wasps accessories.
No wasp gaming. No, they don't game. They don't have
wasp
fingers.
gaming.
No thumbs.
Yeah, well, no. So
you're stupid. Yeah. Okay. So hope this was enjoyable enough.
Next week.
Next
Next
week we're
week?
gonna have someone on. Maybe.
No.
No. Okay.
Maybe. Maybe we'll talk
Probably.
about bugs. We can talk about bugs in video games.
Hey, I can talk about wasps then.
Yeah, and I can talk more about Cyberpunk. But
Wasps
aside
in
from my
video
never-ending
games.
complaint, uh, yeah, hope everybody has a good day, of course. And remember to like and subscribe so we can not die.
Yeah.
But
Did you? Yeah. You better like and subscribe, or I literally
yeah,
die.
you better like and subscribe twice now because we didn't tell you last time.
Yeah, we didn't tell you last time, so
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, try and hit the like button with your nose.
Try to hit the like button with your nuts.
only 1% of people can hit that like button. So let's see if you guys can do it. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, the real 1% of society.
Yeah, let's see if you guys can do it. I don't think you. I don't know if you can.
$1 million entry fee. But yeah, I have been myself and he has been himself. Unless that's not. But yeah,